All right, so very quick one for today. Gonna do a quick recap of the action for the day. Now, today was not an easy hold, but it was an easy, I would say, bias to know where it's going. But once you were in the trade, it was very difficult to hold this thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. Immediately, I was bearish coming in to today. Now, why is that? Friday, well, let's just backtrack to last week. We had multiple bullish days leading into Friday, and then Friday we had a very distinctive, clear bearish day, right? It expanded lower, and it was very clear that it was bearish, right? So when you have those type of scenarios where it's a large range, you do want to wait for the retracement of that expansion, and that's what this move was right at the open, right? It started punching up into the retracement level, which is previous day EQ. So on Fridays, it's very easy to see, well, I meant Mondays, sorry. It's very easy to see the retracement level because previous day EQ is marked out, right? So of that expansion, we're watching this zone, and we know that this is satisfying a retracement of that expansion, and the next phase in delivery is going to be a continuation move lower, right? If we're following market structure. Now, what do we also have here? The indicator is letting us know that this is a resistance zone that has that retracement level within it, previous day EQ. And we also have a silver lining bearish level here. The reason why it's red is because price tapped into it. So it visually changes color to let you know price has tapped into that level. This has a couple settings. You can make it span across the screen, the chart if you want. But in the spirit of making things a little bit cleaner, I made it so that it's kind of floating off to the right, but I added the visual color so you can know perfectly when it gets breached. So we have multiple bearish resistance levels here that we know. We know that this is a 50% retracement of that expansion. So we want to be looking for rejections. And if it does not reject, we're watching this high here because it needs to take this high and close above in order to then fully get bullish, right? So I'm watching this zone first off to see if it starts punching higher. And if it does, I'm watching that high to see what's going on. But I'm mainly looking for a rejection from here. Now, right at the, just before the open, the first candle 925 on the 5-minute, that candle is the candle where it flipped bearish. Now how do I know? It's because of the color change. It's coded to let me know when it flips from either bearish or bullish and vice versa. That's what the color, they all stand for something, right? It's not just to have a colorful chart, right? I've said it before. A lot of people might look at my chart and say it's too much. Doesn't matter because I'm the one that's reading my chart and it's telling me all the information that I need to know. So that candle right there is telling me it flipped bearish. So we're at a resistance level. We're looking for a rejection. Our bias is bearish, right? So what are we targeting? Any one of these liquidity points lower is perfectly fine, because that's a large move regardless of the one that you took. On a higher time frame, you're targeting low of day, right? Which falls very cleanly in this pink zone here, which is the zone that you automatically look at when you get a rejection from this zone here. So if it rejects from here, I'm automatically going to try and target this area. That doesn't mean I'm going to always get the full expansion to it. Like today, I did not get the entire expansion, but it's okay. That's a very large range, right? Getting just half or a third, you're perfectly fine. So once it flipped bearish and we begin to start inversing some of this displacement move up, right? That is a very early entry. You can enter there based off of everything that I just mentioned, all the resistance levels and the first opportunity where it turns bearish. I didn't enter there. I still want some more evidence that it's going to break down. In all honesty, I'm looking for it to drop down and create a lower high to show, and then reject again to show that, you know, it truly needs to confirm that it's going to break down. And there's so much real estate in between these two zones that you can wait for it to develop and then enter and still be perfectly fine, right? The very next candle is a displacement candle, which broke the 20 EMA. That is one of my entry candles, and it's inversing these displacement candles to the left. Perfect entry opportunity. That would be my first entry, but again, I want that lower high in order to feel really comfortable, especially on a Monday with no news. It's a typical day to not trade, to not force anything. You really want to be patient and make sure it's clear. Otherwise, you can fall into the mess that actually occurred today. But this is how you avoid that type of stuff, right? So that would be the first entry, but I didn't take that. I want it to come down, preferably take the low. That it exactly what it did is what I would like to see. It took the low. Now I want it to punch up higher into that displacement inversion candle, and that would be a place where I would look for a lower high to get created. So it punched in there and started coming back, and that could be an entry, right? But they punched it up again. So this is the reason why I hesitated on this entry here. Normally that would be the lower high that I would be looking for, is because ES was pushing very hard and it actually took out its high, creating a bearish SMT. So the fact that ES was pushing so hard here, it made me hesitate and wait for it to develop more, because NQ could easily keep pushing a little bit higher, if not take the high as well. We just don't know. So I hesitated there. ES took the high. Now I'm watching to see if NQ follows. It broke down and displaced lower, creating another lower low. So now we have a bearish SMT, a lower high, and ES is starting to pull back. So now I'm really paying attention again for an entry. This candle is just too large and it drops. Not a real entry. I'm not trying to enter at the bottom of this unless I know it's really going to displace down. So now I'm waiting for another lower high situation. It pops back up, does not take this high, rejects, and then a displacement rejection candle breaking the 20 EMA and the 15-minute 20 EMA to the downside. That is your entry. And because we were kind of jumping back and forth, I actually dropped down to the 1 minute, something that I normally do not do. And that is the exact point where I entered, right on that candle that displaced down, broke the 20 EMA, created the lower high again after making a new lower low, entered on that candle close, stop at the high, because if it's going to run bearish, it should not need to take that high out. It should continue lower, and it does, right? And then nice far drop. It took this liquidity to the left, so I'm watching it to see what it's doing, and then it took the other second liquidity point. Then I started to trail it down, and I was trailed down really tight because low of day is not too far, so it's either going to take it or we're going to face a pullback, which is not something that I want to be in, right? So on this candle, this displacement candle up, stopped me out in profit after that. Let me see if I can pull up the trade. Yep. Open this up a little bit more. So as you can see, I entered in right when that displacement candle closed. Took a little bit of heat on that, but I really wanted to see it reject. And then we got the nice rejection, and you just let it roll at that point. Once it took liquidity, I trailed it super tight down here, and then this candle popped up. So I was probably at the top of this candle. Didn't really give it too much room. It was either going to come down and take low of day, right? Or face a pullback that we just don't know how far it's going to go up, right? So that was the trade on NQ or MNQ. Nice setup, and then you just had to be patient to wait for these things to occur. And if you're using market structure, the lower highs, the lower lows, things like that, it's going to really help you stay out of the chop, right? And the indicators pretty much told you the story, along with the high time frame structure, that we are looking for a bearish move today from this level, and we definitely are trying to go for the rotation, which it does. It hits this level here, takes out low of day, and it also fully rotates to the next silver lining level. These are nice, beautiful trades that you really want to take advantage of when they come. Today it happened, but this was very difficult to hold. But you still have to be happy with that trade. Like I said, I was in somewhere around there on the 5-minute, and I got stopped somewhere around here, right? So we're still almost 200 points. You have to be happy with that. That's a very good trade, really large trade. It doesn't even matter what sizing you're in with. Really good trade, right? So that was perfect. And then on ES, or MES, I should say, you can see clearly that it punched back up, took the highs, and created that bearish SMT. And as it was coming down, I took a short on that one as well. Let me jump down to the 1-minute, which is where I was. So I was out the NQ trade right around here somewhere as MES was developing, and I was just kind of paying attention because MES, I didn't know if it was going to go for low of day or not, but I knew it was still going to be bearish, and you can't take longs until MES or ES takes out low of day, right? In my opinion, that's a big draw. That is the continuation point, right, that it needs to take out. So any longs, in my opinion, are going to be inducements to trap traders and for it to continue on its way lower. So I was watching ES. It tapped back into the 20 EMA and then had a nice rejection displacement candle. And that's where I entered on ES, and then I took it down to about this candle here, and I actually sometimes I do this, but instead of closing it, I'll hit the wrong button and then I'll add to the position. So I closed it immediately once that occurred, but still a good trade, right? So you can see MNQ was inversing as well, and then I entered here on MES, and we took it down, and then I was trying to close, added, and then I closed it immediately. That's why you see a bunch of arrows in there. But it's all right, still a good trade, and both of them combined, we did okay. And you know, you're waiting for that low of day to get taken. So finally ES takes out low of day, and then immediately they both spike out of there. So very clear from an indicator and market structure standpoint of where price was trying to go today. Not the cleanest price action. ES, in my opinion, still a little bit difficult in here. It's not the cleanest price action, right? Very choppy, very back and forth, very difficult. If you're not entering in around the extreme levels and letting it ride, and you're trying to manage it in there, it's very difficult. So it's still a good day to not trade and avoid. Like I said, Monday with no news, you can avoid it, but with the indicators helping, it was a easy directional play. You just had to get in and let it play out type of thing for today. And then we let the rest develop to see what we get tomorrow. So as you can see, after it took out low of day, spiked out, now we're flipping bullish here. And then from this level, I'm going to be looking here, back around this area. So what is there? These highs are there. Not saying that's going to take it out today, but you know, that's what I would be targeting. I wouldn't be trying to trade anything at this point, but quick recap for today. Not really much to discuss. It was, you know, terrible delivery as far as it being very volatile and choppy. That's when it's very dangerous, when price is really volatile and violent, pushing violent in both directions, and it's compressing at the same time. A lot of people will get destroyed in that type of environment, so it's better to wait until it breaks and starts to become settled down, a little bit lower volume, and then you can trade it, or you can just skip it entirely. So quick recap, using the levels, that's why I say level to level, right? You could have taken a short from this level and got out here. It's pretty much what my trade was. Or you could have tried to hold it for the next level lower, the harder hold, and then on NQ it did a full rotation play. So you have levels to take it to. The main thing is to not be greedy and to do something when it hits a level, right? When it hits a level, you need to be break even at the very least. You need to be trailing or taking a partial or considering closing the trade, because it's going to be enough distance to where it's a really good trade for you, right? So I'll close it there. Not really much to get into, but just wanted to say that the indicators really helped out today as far as the bias direction and where to take a trade from and where to take it to, right? I know a lot of people may have gotten confused today and were in longs trying to long this, but we were in a bearish state. Like, we're clearly trending bearish, right? We expanded lower. At the very least, you want a retracement of that expansion leg, and then you want to see what happens at that retracement, right? If you're bullish, after the retracement comes, you want it to create a higher low, which is what I was looking for in here, to make sure it didn't create a higher low to make a new higher high, and then attack this high up here. Then we can start breaking bullish. Or it made a lower low, you're waiting for it to retrace, and now we're attacking that low for a continuational short trade. Make it simple. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Don't try to chase every little pivot. Know the direction and bias that you're trying to go into, and then locate that precise entry within that, right? So I'll end it there. It's a decent day for what it was. Got a couple good trades in there, and we will see what happens tomorrow. Any questions? You can leave a comment or jump in the Discord. And if you want to take a gander at the indicators, you can feel free to reach out, let me know, and I can definitely show you some things on how I use them and what I look at, things of that nature. So have a good one, and we'll see what we can do tomorrow.